to Egypt now, and the International Monetary Fund is calling on the country to urgently devalue its currency. IMF Chief Christine Lagarde says the currency crisis in the country can only be resolved by bridging the widening gap between the official and black market exchange rates. Lately, the Egyptian pound has weakened against the dollar, trading at 14.2 in the black market compared to 8.88 official rates. Egypt has been struggling to shore up its foreign currency reserves at the face of an economic turmoil since 2011. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi's administration is rolling out an austerity program and is seeking billions in support from abroad in order to meet conditions for a $12 billion loan from the IMF. Yasser Hakim joins me from Cairo now with the latest developments of this story. Yasser, there has been pressure for some time for the government to devalue the pound. Are you seeing the likelihood of that happening this time around?
Well, the timing is very important. The Egyptian pound had already been devalued or lowered a few months ago, back in March, and this has had its effects. It has raised prices, and then you have the austerity measures that's been ongoing, adopted for the past year or so, with reduction in energy subsidies, more taxes, and this has all put a burden on the Egyptian people, and the government is reluctant because it does not want to add more burden, because any devaluation will mean a price hike. So they've been very sensitive about this and very discreet as well, not giving any signs whether they will do it now or later, and hoping that maybe they can have other means to avoid devaluation.
And the currency crisis, Yasser, is intensifying. Businessmen are unable to order imports of key items like sugar due to lack of dollars. What measures have been put in place to ease the situation?
Well, at this point, nothing new. It's the same. You said at the beginning that the price of the Egyptian pound at the black market was 14 to the dollar against 8.88. Now today it's jumped to 16 Egyptian pounds per dollar, and the official is 8.88. So we're talking about 100% gap between the official rate and the black market. The government is unable to do anything now. It has been relying on support from its Gulf neighbors, the oil-rich neighbors who are not in themselves now facing a lot of economic issues themselves, so they're not able to provide Egypt with the funds and the loans and the aid that they have been doing in the last 2 years. So at this point, it is the same, and the businessmen are still complaining of the lack of foreign currency in the market.
Well, it is certain, Yasser, that the Egyptian government has been cautious about IMF intervention or prescriptions to its economy. So is this latest call by Lagarde likely to open up another front of disagreements?
I guess Lagarde just saying this shows that there is disagreement behind the scenes, because before it's been known that there are certain conditions by the IMF to allow Egypt the $12 billion that Egypt badly needs. One of these conditions is the currency devaluation. Another is to guarantee $6 billion in the foreign reserves before taking the money. Egypt has been working on that. There's a dollar bond in the mid-November expected. They've taken money around $1 billion from the UAE and another from the Saudi Arabians, and they are discussing about $2 billion from China. But what's left is the devaluation, and I think the disagreement now is, do we devalue now or after we take the loan? Egypt wanted to take the loan first from the IMF and then devalue the currency so that it will have the loan in its foreign reserves and pump the money into the market, and so reduce the effects of a devaluation, because when you pump dollars into the market and you have enough dollars, when you devalue the currency, you can have some kind of a balance in the demand and supply to the dollars, and thus sort of sustain a good Egyptian pound, a strong Egyptian pound, and avoid price hikes. But what the IMF wants is the other way around. It wants the devaluation first, and then it will give the money to the Egyptian government. But at the end, I know, and we all know, that the IMF will have it its own way. And I think that's what the Egyptian government will, at the end, have to take and devalue the Egyptian pound at one point.
All right, Yasser Hakim, thanks for putting it into perspective for us.